Hi, I'm talking to Cathy Morfopoulos, and she's a member of Artists for a Better World, and she also does a lot of nonprofit work. Cathy, you're talking about a drug-free world. Can you tell me a little bit about this and what you do?
Sure. So I'm part of Foundation for a Drug-Free World, and we work to educate teens, young adults, and parents about what drugs really are, so that people can make their own choice and hopefully remain drug-free.
Excellent.
Yes.
Very good. And I've heard some false data about false information, kind of about all this. Is drugs good? Is drugs bad for you? What drugs are good? What drugs are bad? And there's so much confusion about that. What would you say?
Well, United States has been a true leader in drug use.
Great.
We are consuming an enormous amount of the drugs that are produced. And so part of what we're seeing in today is there's almost two avenues. One is people don't want to use the criminal justice system to address drug abuse, which of course we agree that it is a simplistic way to address this. What Drug Free World is very passionate about is prevention.
Right.
And funny enough, people have the idea that, you know what, you don't want to educate people about drugs, that's not that effective. But it is completely the reverse. It's the cheapest, the easiest, the most effective way to prevent drug abuse, alcohol abuse, is to actually explain what they are. Yeah. So this is an example of, this is a booklet from Foundation for a Drug-Free World. They've got lots of free courses. They've got a fantastic website. And the whole point is when people actually understand what drugs are, so that you're not hearing it for the first time from, some kid who's pitching you, right, on how fantastic whatever this drug is. If you actually have some knowledge of the subject, it makes it much easier to make your own choice, because in the long run, it's a person's choice, what they are going to do, what they aren't going to do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And they've got to make the right choice and with the right information.
Exactly.
If they don't hear what it's really, all the side effects.
It's a very funny thing, because drugs, every drug has its sort of pitch.
Right.
So with the teenagers, the top three are nicotine, alcohol, and marijuana. And with today's explosion of vaping, it is absolutely critical that parents understand that these are not harmless vapor, water. This is not what vaping is. Vaping is taking a very strong concentration of chemicals that are completely untested for the lungs, not tested whatsoever.
Wow.
These are flavors that are supposed to go ingested, but not inhaled. So nothing should be going into the lungs of anyone except air. That's the only safe thing that goes into lungs, right?
Absolutely.
So, but with vaping, they have these cartridges which you can interchange. So if a teen is vaping nicotine, you are creating a new addiction to nicotine.
Right.
When they're using marijuana, today's marijuana is best understood by going to the Surgeon General's website. The Surgeon General has so much information. It's so easy to understand, and it cuts through all of the marketing. It tells you what is this drug, what has happened to the drug that we were around growing up. This is a completely different drug, and they call it a genetically modified drug.
Right.
And the element that's worrisome is called THC, and the THC creates the high, the intoxication. And keep in mind that the word intoxication comes from the word toxic.
Right.
These are all chemicals. Today's marijuana is not a natural substance. It's not what they talk about. We've had it for many, many hundreds of years. That's true, but not in the form it's in.
Thank you for that information.
Yep.
I'm so glad. We should get this out to everyone.
It's a funny thing, but people really do want information.
Yeah.
So rather than Google God forbid you Google, tell me about marijuana, because you're going to go straight into the marketing sites.
Oh, I see.
Right. You want to go to this organization, again, it's Foundation for a Drug-Free World.
Great.
They've got fantastic information on every drug, not just...
Wow.
Yeah, they've got it on alcohol, they've got it on fentanyl, they've got it on prescription drugs, cocaine, everything.
Great.
So that you can look at it, and they have everything they offer is free. They have it in many, many languages.
Do you
Yeah.
think that people have some kind of attitude towards drugs? How come it's getting passed in the, in the government, and and people are thinking it's okay?
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the attitude is of people now towards drugs?
It's it's hard to cover in just a few minutes, but
Right.
let's look at it in a very simple way. If somebody told you that they smoked pot most every day, but then translate that to someone says, I drink to the point where I'm under the influence, I drink every day, you would have no difficulty understanding that that person was in trouble.
Right.
But the culture of this, a certain culture has sprung up over the many years, and the difficulty is that it's now being almost borrowed by the corporations. So the guys that are now really pushing
The
are
marketers.
tobacco companies are going very big into marijuana. And if you believe a single word that the tobacco companies have to say, then you don't know anything about tobacco, right? But nevertheless,
Right.
it's the alcohol companies, the tobacco companies, and basically people who want to make money off addiction. So
Right.
who's believing all this is, first of all, the parents are thinking they just are not that educated, right? So rather than ask anybody, they can just go on these websites. Again, I really recommend National Institute of Drug Abuse. They're fantastic information. Surgeon General, the CDC. These are the guys that are leading the charge on the COVID situation, right? So these are
Wow.
very well-known sites. The difference is that the reason we like these guys, the Foundation for Drug-Free World, is that they do educator seminars.
Right.
They ship out information all over the world.
They go right down to the public and get it just
right.
Yes.
So, in today's world, people have this idea that drugs enhance creativity.
Yeah.
That they're
Artists.
going to become.
Oh yes,
right.
our artists.
Exactly. And so one of the things I admire about why I'm a member of Artists for a Better World is because they recognize that drugs don't enhance creativity. It does the reverse. And also
That's right.
that when people in general have accurate information, they can make the right choice. So in today's world, you can't just not educate at all, because today's drugs are actually truly dangerous. We've
Yes.
got fentanyl, we have meth, we have opioids.
Even the THC that's very strong now in marijuana.
So what's happening is, especially with the vaping craze and the fact that people can put these elements into a vape pen or electronic cigarette, it just means that you just can't leave it to chance that kids or parents are going to have accurate information.
Right.
Yes.
You have to give it to them.
That's
and
right.
get it out there. And you're doing that. Thank you so much, Cathy.
You're
We really
welcome.
appreciate it.
Thank you.